Hey guys, my name is Ryan.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to HitScan. We actually have some pretty massive news when it comes to Project A from two very big sources. The first is Vadim, who is a journalist from the big Russian magazine, games magazine DTF. And also we have Henry G, who is a big CSGO caster as well. Both have played the game. Both today have revealed a lot of information on how the game runs and their general opinions. We'll start with Vadim first, as he goes over a lot of stuff to do with when we'll hear more. The first is that the name Project A isn't going to be the name of the game, but we will hear it on March the 2nd, where we'll get a lot more information from a lot of game websites, and no doubt from a lot of different content creators as well. Today we were allowed to share general impressions of it, but so far without details. This is the quote, and generally broken down because it's in Russian. In a nutshell, this is not an Overwatch clone at all, like some assumed from the first trailer. The heroes in the game are closer to operatives in Siege. Your abilities are important, but the basic tactics and ability to shoot in the first place are more important. This is the interesting bit. Abilities must be purchased with money earned in the rounds, and spamming them will not work. He then goes to talk about the competitor with CSGO, but does highlight the interesting fact that they are planning to launch free-to-play model selling only cosmetics, which sounds great. The only caveat is that it's going to be launched on PC first, with other platforms under consideration at the moment. But Henry G has even more details on some of the nuances and especially how abilities are going to work, which Miska is going to cover.
Yeah, so we've actually seen a lot of the actual abilities and characters and generally how the game plays in the past in that trailer that came out in, I believe, October. I'll try to run that in the background to bring up relevant footage. First off though, Project A is a tactical shooter. It's 5v5 and it's round based. As was mentioned briefly, the 12 rounds thing is pretty important, as it seems to be that that's what you can go to max, that it maxes out at 12-12, so it would be best of 24. In Counter-Strike, it's best of 30, so interesting that they brought that down. It's a DE or SND type of mode, meaning defusal or search and destroy. Both are modes in various shooters that are centered around going to a bomb site and defusing or planting a bomb. So yeah, pretty standard stuff, basically like Counter-Strike. A and B bomb sites are very similar to Counter-Strike. I'm sure all those players will be very familiar with that gameplay. I assume they're moving away from the whole terrorist style gameplay though, and any type of affiliation with that, and want to move in another direction that's a bit more marketable. The attack defense swap at halftime as per usual, and the tactical utility, the abilities that we taught in the last part, are actually very similar to utility in CSGO according to Henry G here. So kind of similar to smoke grenades and other stuff like that, and we kind of knew this already. If you look at the trailer, you can see a lot of characters have abilities that block entrances visually, but you can still walk through. There's the poison here that has the sort of bigger poison cloud or ball, whatever you want to call it. You can probably walk through this but take maybe a bit of damage. There's another one that has more of a sort of wind or tornado type of thing going, where I assume they more block it visually, but maybe it slows instead. So yeah, we're probably going to be seeing a lot of variations of that. What's also interesting is how Henry G highlights that there are not overpowered spells / ultimates or combinations that, quote, other class-based games suffer from. I wonder which games he could be referring to here. So yeah, a lot of Overwatch players I'm sure are going to be happy to hear that and try something a bit different. Going into abilities a bit more, I want to highlight once again the fact that you need to actually purchase the abilities is huge here. That's a pretty big gameplay change, and I think that's a very interesting one, because generally when people think class-based and hero-based shooters, they think that you just have the abilities by default on a character. We've seen a buy menu in that trailer for Project A, and as you can see here, there's quite a lot of stuff on here. This looks like it could be kind of a work in progress, and I assume that you can kind of unlock your abilities either for the round or for the rest of the game here. For the round sounds more plausible, but yeah, since they didn't really explain this any further, we're only left to speculate about this part. You buy this using money that is sort of saved for the same reservoir as the weaponry, so you unlock abilities like you buy utility or guns in Counter-Strike. The gameplay has been described as really solid overall. We can't say much about it as we haven't played the game yet and we don't know enough to really, give a verdict in that sense. But what I thought was very interesting was that you can have a great time playing without having to rely too much on the abilities to assist you in your game. Saying that there's nothing more satisfying dropping a successful combo of movement mechanics abilities that isolates your opponent to buy space before pulling the trigger on the killing blow. That's from Henry G on Twitter, and I thought that was just great to hear. Along with this as well, generally speaking, a one bullet headshot with one of the primary rifles with any class hero wielding it will do enough damage to take down an opponent. So a lot like Rainbow Six Siege if you guys have played that. very short time to kill, very different from Overwatch in that sense, as obviously the game we've been covering on this channel in the past. But both Ryan and I have played a lot of CSGO and a lot of Rainbow Six Siege as well, and are super hyped to actually cover this too.
For sure, and I really like the fact that abilities are stuff that you can buy. Like in the gameplay, you notice it for a short second, but there is a character that has a res ability, and of course a lot of people went, oh god, not this again, it's like Old Mercy, but if that ability costs quite a lot of money, then it's quite easy to balance as well. You know, like as a resurrect ability, it might be really difficult to balance like it was in Overwatch. But for Riot, they could just up the amount of money that ability may cost. So it's quite an interesting way to go about particular abilities and balancing them in the future, much like how CS is currently balancing weapons. They make them more expensive or cheaper depending on how strong that they are. So I'm really interested to see how they go for that. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to VP Elvin and the Project 8 Riot Games FPS Discord for letting us know about all this huge information. There's a link in the Discord below, but as you can imagine, we're both really excited. We really want to cover this game. It's a big thing that's on our mind, and from the sounds of it, I feel like we're getting a 2020 launch for Project 8, from the sounds of it, at least.
Yeah, and it seems like it's on a lot of people's mind, and many people are excited for this in a sort of genre changing way that's very different to see. We haven't actually seen it a lot. It's quite extreme to see hype in this way, because usually what you get before game launches is just, you know, the occasional tweet from people expressing that they're interested in playing it. But with people like Slasher and other journalists saying that it's essentially gonna take over the FPS genre before it's even launched, I think
that's
definitely
such a Slasher thing to say, though, isn't it?
It really is, isn't it? Yeah.
I think the cool thing is, the one thing I wanted to mention is obviously a kind of game like this isn't going to appeal to everybody, especially in the Overwatch community that watch us. But the good thing is that this game is looking to go free to play, and it wouldn't surprise me because it is Riot, Teamfight Tactics, League of Legends, all of those free-to-play games, Runeterra.
That small indie game, League of Legends.
So, like, you could at least give it a try and see if it's up your street. I think what Riot will want to do here is make a less intimidating CSGO, because I think CS as a game is quite intimidating with rowdy Russians, or just how, you know, damning it can be if you're not used to skill-based FPS games like it. So if they can ride that line between what Overwatch and CS is, they've got a game. That's my opinion on it.
Definitely, and yeah, we'll be covering more stuff here. We will have things coming in March, and it should be a good time for everyone. Yeah, keep an eye out, and we'll keep you informed. Thanks for watching.
March 2nd. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.